Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rekakadash. Yahweh be the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shah be the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ. Now we start with Job 13, verse 4. It says, "But ye are forgers of lies. You are all physicians of no value." Now this is almost a prophecy, and Job was living in the land of the Edomites. So these Edomites, they know how to forge lies. See, and the so-called stuff that they come up with that might seem beneficial for you is really a bold-faced lie. All right. And we're going to keep with this King David because he, dealing with the Edomites, read them their rights. It says, "Thy tongue deviseth mischief like a sharp razor working deceitfully. You love evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. You love all devouring words, O you deceitful tongue." So this is how King David is describing these Edomites. He's saying that these people are bold-faced liars, and they love lying. You see, let's get it, make it even further. He went even further and said, "The wicked," talking about the nation of Edom, the Edomites, "are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent." So what is this poison? See, what is this poison? They gonna have poison that they gonna be pushing. See, that's what people don't understand. They got poison for you. When it seems like they coming with something to help you, they gonna be giving you poison. This is how the Edomites operate. Okay. Now we got this Louis Pasteur, and this guy, he's an Edomite. You see, and he pretty much is one of those forgers of lies. He's one of the greatest forgers of lies because before he came on the scene, it was not it was no information being really pushed as he was pushing it. And he got famous because he found out a strategy to help people preserve milk, some cow titty milk, and he became famous off that. And then he was dealing with this worm, silkworm or whatever, that was getting sick, and help people to use the silk from this worm. So he became famous off that. But this was all during the time of slavery, during the time of the Enlightenment era, where these Edomites was going into the laboratory and coming up with forging all kind of lies and propaganda. And while they got these slaves on the plantation, they figuring out ways to pretty much lie to people.
Before he could could begin studying diseases, Louis Pasteur still needed to do the scientific research that was paying the bills. In 1854, Pasteur became a chemistry professor at the University of Lille, and he was paid to continue researching issues in alcohol manufacturing. He became the dean of the science department as well and helped to mentor the rest of the faculty. In 1861, Pasteur discovered anaerobiosis, which is crucial in understanding how yeast and sugar formed alcohol during the fermentation process. Even though fermentation had been going on for thousands of years of human history, no one else had been able to explain the how and why of the chemical process. So today, yes, everyone running some hipster microbrewery has Louis Pasteur to thank for their careers making craft beer. Once he fully understood the fermentation process, Pasteur had a theory that these invisible organisms called germs and bacteria were responsible for causing wine, beer, and milk to go sour. He proved that by boiling these liquids, he could kill the bacteria and then cool it to make it drinkable again. The first successful test was completed on April the 20th, 1862. That process of heating and cooling, it was named after him, so it was known as pasteurization, and it is a process that is still used today. Louis Pasteur was able to move on from the food industry and begin studying disease, which had been his goal. In 1865, he was able to prove that microbes were causing a disease that destroyed silkworm eggs. His wife, Marie, assisted him in growing the silkworms and keeping them alive during the course of the experiment. He was able to develop a prevention for contamination and saved the silk-making industry around robes and pajamas. Once he was beginning to understand how bacteria caused illness, he was beginning to come up with his germ theory. For the majority of human history, people did not know about the existence of germs, and they did not fully understand the immune system. The widely held belief was the miasma theory, which was that diseases are caused by a poisonous vapor in the air that only came out at night. Yes, it does sound a bit ridiculous in retrospect, but people had absolutely no idea how or why human beings contracted illnesses. In hospitals, doctors and nurses never even bothered to wash their hands because they truly did not understand the spread of human disease. Human waste, it would sometimes make its way into the water system, which would trigger huge outbreaks of infectious disease, all because people did not understand that germs existed. Other scientists had proposed germ theory long before Louis Pasteur, but it was often dismissed. People had believed in miasma theory for so long that it had just become the truth. In England,
So this man came up with a so-called theory. See, that's the forger of a lie. And not science word that they've been using. Science means knowledge. So how they word things is how they push their lies, because it say the devil's in the detail. See, the lie is in the detail. Once you get the details, then you expose the lie. So it says superseded theories in science. So it was some theories out there that was superseded, just like the one he named, where people talking about the air, it was bad air that was causing these illnesses, and it was the bad air was making people become fat. See, this is the crap that they was coming with. But when you go into these superseded theories, it says, let me start at, let's see here. Let's start at the meaning. It said many discarded explanations were once supported by a scientific consensus, but replaced after more empirical evidence became available that identified flaws and promoted new theories which better explain the available data. So these people taking data and they giving their explanation. See, they giving their raggedy explanation and opinion about what's going on. They say pre-modern explanations originated before the specific scientific method, which with varying degrees of empirical support. So when you go into empirical evidence, it means that you got some hardcore proof what's going on, which these people do not got. It says some theories are discarded in their entirety, such as the replacement of the phlogiston theory by energy and thermodynamics. Some theories known to be incomplete or in some ways incorrect are still used. So these people still using stuff that they know is a lie. See, they know these theories is lies, but they using them and teaching them in school. You see, and there go that Mazama theory. Some aspects of discarded theories are reused in modern explanation. For example, miasma theory proposed that all disease were transmitted by bad air. See, this is the crap that these Edomites was pushing. Then you get another Edomite, he pushes something even greater. The modern germ theory of disease has found that disease are caused by microorganisms, which can be transmitted by a variety of routes. See, this is what the problem is. Let's go into now. When you go into the Latin, the word poison is where you get this virus mess from. And all it is a toxin. It's something that's toxin to your body. Because what these people coming up with, they just looking into a microscope and seeing some kind of organism, what they call it, or some kind of invisible worm, and they trying to come up with an explanation to what's going on. But their explanation is that this thing is traveling through the water. It's a like a worm or some kind of small worm that's traveling through the water and infecting all of the people. And it's a bold-faced lie. See, they don't have the evidence is proving that it's a lie. Now you got the poison. Now poison is what King David was talking about. These people, Edomites, is going to use poison to try to lie to people. And they trying to turn poison into some airborne situation. See, this poison, and see, you can spray poison in the air and get people what you call it, not intoxicated. You can pretty much poison they behind and through spraying stuff in the air. That's what you got the chemtrails and all that mess going on. See, ain't no telling what they spraying in the air, and then they want to blame it on some so-called germ worm that's in the water or floating in the air. A worm that can fly in the air, but nobody can see it, and it can fly out of somebody's mouth and go into your nose and mouth. You see, some kind of worm that can fly in the air. That's what they pretty much saying. And it's a bold-faced lie, man. There's no worms flying in the air. And somebody sneeze on you and the worm fly from out of their mouth and jump on you, go into your nostrils and get you. Then now you got the whole disease that these people got. See, the worms jump on you in your mouth and your nose and start going out multiplying in your body, and your body ain't got no kind of fight for the situation. Now, probiotics debunk that crap anyway, because your body got so-called worms in there that's gonna fight any kind of poison and toxin. See, that's what you got, a liver and you got an immune system. And these people, what they doing is they using the poison on the down low. That's why King David used that analogy, because these people's gonna use poison. And let me go into that. Well, now they want to freeze up. Let's go into what these people was gonna do. Revelation 18 and 23. It says, the last sentence say, for your merchants were the great men of the earth. By their sorceries were all nations deceived. See, their sorceries really goes into their lies and the forgers of lies that they physicians gonna tell. See, they physicians will tell you a bold-faced lie and deceive your behind, lie to your behind that it's some worms flying in the air. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's a micro worm. It's a worm that's so small that you can't see it, and it's gonna fly in your mouth or be floating in the air when somebody sneezes, and it's gonna go airborne. It's in the air. That's what airborne is all about. It's in the air, and it's gonna fly from the air to you. And see, if you can put poison in the water, you can poison the water just like they putting the fluoride in the water. You can poison the water and poison all the people through the water system. That's what he even got famous from with this germ mess. Or it's in the water, and because it was a yellow fever. So he said the yellow fever was floating in the water, and that's how everybody was getting sick, because all this yellow fever was in the water. See, this is what these people coming with. And a Negro is sitting up there and listening to them and trust them, and they don't know what the heck going on. See, your behind was in slavery when these people was coming up with all this mess. You was in the cotton field when they was coming up with all this mess, like they some intelligent people. When you got a whole crop of slaves out here beating them, and that's another thing. Let's go into that. All right. Now this dragon, Samuel Cartwright. Now he, during the time with these other Lewis and all these people going to college and these universities that they got, or these lie camps, that's what I call them. They got a bunch of lying camps, and they forging all kind of lies in these camps. He was one of the ones talking about some freaking slaves, and he's analyzing. Now look at what he is, American physician. See, physician. What it say? Forgers of lies, physicians with no value. See, this is Bible prophecy coming into play, because this is what they're gonna deceive the whole world with, this mess. But look at the crap that they were coming with. It says this hypothesis centered around the belief that slavery was such an improvement upon the lives of slaves that only those suffering from some form of mental illness would wish to escape. See, this is the Edomite. It says Cartwright specifically cited the tendency of slaves to flee the plantation that held them, since slaves happy with their condition would not want to leave. He inferred that such people had to be sick. See, this is such a metaphor to the whole situation. They trying to tell you sick because you some worms flying around in the air. Well, really they done poisoned your behind. Then it goes into the scientific racism, but it was breaking down on where he was getting this crap from. Now the Edomites before him had the same situation. They called it drape tease or some crap, which meant they was a person was crazy if they didn't want to be under these dragons. But look at what these people was doing. It's a Cartwright described this disorder, which he said was unknown to medical authorities, although it diagnostic symptom, the absconding from service, is well known to our planters and overseers, in a paper that he wrote in Louisiana. Okay, but this is what the part I wanted to get. It say, if treated kindly, well fed and clothed with fuel enough to keep a small fire burning at night, separated into families, each family having its own house, not permitted to run about at night to visit their neighbors, to receive visits, or use intoxicating liquors, and not overworked or exposed too much to the weather, they are very easily governed. See, you can control these Negroes if you take these measures. This is the crap he writing now. More so than any other people in the world. See, we can control these Negroes if we take these measures, man. It says if anyone or more of them at any time are inclined to raise their heads to a level with their master or overseer, humanity and their own good requires that they should be punished until they fall into that submissive state which was intended for them to occupy. They have only to be kept in that state and treated like children to prevent the cure them from running away. This is the crap that these Edomites are coming with. This is a disease. See, they will forge a lie real quick and put it on your behind. And so these people, what's his name? Let's go back to Lewis, the one who come with the greatest lie. This Lewis guy, he ain't nothing but a red dragon that was running his mouth, lying, and the other Edomites saying they gonna save billions of lives, but it'll never happen. He ain't saved nobody, man. Your immune system gonna save you. Your eating habits gonna save you. Not know somebody putting some dang on poison inside of you. See, cause what they doing now, they gonna use his method to knock people's off. See, get rid of some people. Cause now we gonna say you got poison in you, and we gonna put some more poison in you to try to offset the poison that you already got in you. See, when none of the crap even exists, and if it exists, you dragons is poisoning the water and the air. That's where the poison is coming from. It ain't coming from no natural situation. It's coming from these dragons, snakes, as King David called them, poisoning people. You see. But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivities. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.